Hey guys, Kevin Yates here from IamKevinYates.com. So today I just want to talk a little bit about how to get out of the energy debt. Basically, what I'm calling the energy debt is something that I call when basically you're spending most of your days having trouble getting out of bed because you're wiped out, because you're not sleeping well, or you're up late at night with work projects and you're just kind of wiped out in most of your mornings. You barely have enough energy to get out the door, let alone get through your work day, right? So, you're constantly having to drink coffee or energy drinks or eat sugary, snacks and things like that just to kind of keep your energy levels up. You hit that 3 o'clock kind of hour in the day and you're just crashing, right? And by the end of the day, you're just stressed out, burnt out, wiped out. You don't even have enough energy to play with your kids or barely hold a conversation with your spouse, right? So that's what I call the energy debt. And, what happens a lot of times is when we get to that point where we're real deep in that debt and we want to get out because we don't feel good, we're not happy. Most of the times when we're in an energy debt, we're also having struggles with body fat and excess body weight, right? We need to lose weight and we just want to get in better shape. So we start to think about working out. Right? I got to start working out, or I got to start working out more. But the interesting thing that happens is that the very thing we try to do in working out to get ourselves in better shape and build energy actually ends up making us feel worse in a lot of cases. Our energy levels start to plummet even more. We don't get the results we want, right? We're not really losing weight the way we want. We get stuck. We get frustrated. And, sometimes we keep pushing things. We get nagging aches and pains and injuries, right? And then we constantly think in the opposite way, right? So I'm working out, I'm doing all this, but I'm feeling worse, so I must need to do more. I've got to work out more, or I've got to train harder, right? I've got to train longer, right? And we come up with all these things, and this is what happens. We get in this vicious cycle of energy debt. So what it looks like here is basically this is your energy baseline, what we'll call, right? So this just represents having kind of a constant or a decent supply of energy. Enough energy where you feel good in the morning, you feel energetic when you get out the door. Throughout your day, your energy level's pretty even, and by the end of the day, you still got energy left over, right? Not having to be jumping and hollering and head in the clouds type energy, but you're consistent, right? You're consistent. You feel good. So here's what happens though, is we miss out on sleep, so we're starting the day kind of under where our energy levels should be, where we'd like them to be. We have a little bit of shot of caffeine or whatever to get through the morning. That picks us up a little bit for a little while, but then when we come down and we hit that crash, I'll draw it under here, we get into a deeper debt, right? There's a deeper energy debt that starts to get created. So and then we, go on and maybe we grab a bite to eat at lunch, but it's not the best food because we're running around trying to get to meetings and get deadlines done and do all this stuff. So we grab a quick bite to eat, feel better, but the foods that we're eating actually rob us of energy because they take more energy from our body to digest them, right? So it's this constant downward trend you can see that happens to your energy levels. And there's a lot of other things that play in. So I'm just kind of giving a rough sketch, right? A rough idea to get the big picture. But then the thing that we do when we go to exercise, it's like the end of the day and we go, okay, well, I'm going to hit the gym, or on the weekend, I'm going to go out and go for a run, or, I'm going to go out and play some sports, play a game of baseball or softball or whatever it might be. But the thing is this, that we end up feeling worse because there's a reason why they call it working out. And that's because what we're doing is we're going further into an energy debt because we are taking energy and working it out of our body, right? We're spending energy. And it works just like a credit card. If you think about credit card debt, you get into debt when you're trying to spend money you don't have, right? They'll take, you use a credit card and you can make purchases, but you don't have the money, so you accumulate debt. And that's what happens with the energy levels. We're doing things that are taking energy away from us. And they're constantly taking more and more and more away, and we get deeper and deeper into this debt, right? So before we know it, we're down here into this big debt, and we're stuck, and we don't know how to get out. So I'm just going to share with you 5 things you could do to get out of the energy debt. All right. So first thing you want to do, first thing is sleep. I mean, I am not kidding. Sleep is one of the most, I think it's the most overrated and overlooked energy recovery methods available to us. And it's something we get so little of because we're so busy in our everyday lives, and we're taking work home with us, and we're working late at night, or we're watching TV and doing things until late at night. And by the time we get to bed, it's like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning. Or we're getting to sleep maybe a little earlier, but we're waking up in the middle of the night and kind of tossing and turning, got our minds wrapped around all the things we have to do the next day. So we're not getting enough quality sleep. So the big thing is to aim for a good solid 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night, at least five nights a week. And here's how to do it. Get to bed somewhere between 10 p.m., 11 p.m. No later than that, 5 nights out of your week, and you'll be amazed at what happens. Okay, second thing is water, right? And I know what you're thinking, probably rolling your eyes going, what does water have to do with energy? It has everything to do with energy. Because most people, statistically, it's been shown that about 3/4 of the population are chronically dehydrated. And another thing that shows is that if you are as little as 2% dehydrated, they've done this with athletes and found that when they were as little as 2% dehydrated, their performance was impaired. Right? So same thing with us. As little as 2% dehydration, and you got to think about your ability to focus and be productive on your workday, and what kind of energy you have to do things, doing things around the house, right? Things like if you want to play sports or work out, just having the energy to deal with playing with the kids and keeping up, right? It all requires energy, and water is a key component to that. So make sure that you're drinking at least half of your body weight in ounces of water every day. Third thing is food, right? And this is a no-brainer. This is nothing you don't already know, but it's something we don't do enough of. And it's just basically, I don't even have enough time to get into everything about food, but it's very simple, right? The big thing is really just focus on eating whole foods as much as possible. Not saying you have to do it forever and be 100% compatible, but do it as much as possible. Replace the processed foods with whole foods. Fruits, vegetables, meats, eggs, organic butters, right? Things like that. And nuts, raw nuts, right? Go with those things, and that with the water. And then just pay attention to the feedback that you get after you eat. Because what should happen is you should feel an energy. You shouldn't be skyrocketing up here after you eat, but you should feel a little bit of a pick-me-up, right? And it should last you for at least for about maybe 3 to 4 hours, that you feel that your energy level is good for that time, all right? Fourth thing is when we're talking about exercise. You can do exercise, but there's a difference between working out, where you're spending energy, and working in, where you're building energy. So slow everything down and think about if you're going to do like weight training, okay? Lighten up the loads to a load that you can do for 30 repetitions, whatever lift you want, but focus on taking slow, deep breaths every repetition, right? So it should be about breathing in for 4 seconds during the phase where you're not exerting force, and then breathing out for about 3 or 4 seconds as well during the phase where you're actually exerting force. So just kind of a good breathing pace. So, and that's a rule of thumb. You don't have to stick to that exactly. It's just a rule of thumb. So as long as your breathing is slow and controlled, and you're breathing deeply throughout, then you should be fine with it. Okay. Other forms of exercise you can do are things like walking. You could do, swimming, biking, as long as it, again, is at a pace where you can comfortably and deeply breathe. So you're not actually exerting yourself. What this does is it helps you bring more oxygen and energy into your body than you spend pushing out of your body. So hopefully that makes sense. All right. The next thing has to do with the final one. I believe this is 5. I hope this is 5. It's the last one I'm going to give anyway. It's having a dream. Okay? And because the one thing is that most of us spend so much time going through our everyday lives. We hate having to get up in the morning and leave our families. We hate, in a lot of cases, the jobs that we have, and we dread going to work. And we spend so much of our lives kind of dreading the things that we have to do, feeling like we have to do them because we have bills to pay, we have mouths to feed, and roof to keep over our heads and all these things, but we spend very little time enjoying life. So the one thing that'll just drain the energy right out of you. It really does. But the one thing that will help bring energy back into and excite you is when you have a dream. And focusing on moving yourself toward your dream, whatever it is. But anytime you start to feel down, have that dream, right? If it's whatever it might be, just, have some kind of a dream that you can focus on. And you can do it often, right? At least once a day, where you're just focusing on that dream. Concentrate on that, because that will definitely pick you up and pick your energy levels up. All right, so this has gone on long enough as it is, but hopefully this gives you enough idea of at least some useful strategies you can use to help dig you out of the energy debt and get you right back up to where you got an energy surplus. So think about that energy bank account, where you're at, and it's time to start climbing out of the energy debt and getting back into looking, feeling, and performing your best and building the strongest life possible. Until the next time, take care.